Directors meeting for Thursday, November the 16th, 2017, to order official. The first order of business, I'm sorry, we're going to put one down there. Thank you. The first item on the agenda is the call to order, which I did. The next is the introductions. We'll start with Daniel on the management side. And
Daniel, Operations Manager, Resident Operations Manager. Daniel, Resident Operations Manager.
Mary Veal, the Executive Assistant to the General Manager.
Dorothy Wazia, General Manager.
one message, Board President.
Sovita Bogler, Tower 2.
Richard Vasquez, Tower 3 Director.
Joe Purcell, Tower 1 Director.
Rich Solafuente, Director at Large.
Michael Critwell, Director.
Richard Miller, Director, Tower 1.
Justin Mack, Director at Large.
The first order of business is the second on the agenda, which is approval of the open meeting minutes for September the 14th.
I make a motion to approve the open board minutes for September 14, 2017.
I second.
The motion's been made and seconded to approve the minutes for the open meeting for September the 14th. All those in favor, raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The motion carries. The next order is the open minutes for the October the 19th meeting, which was tabled.
I make a motion to approve the open board minutes for October 19, 2017.
The motion's been made. Is there a second? Sarah will second the motion. All those in favor, raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? One abstention. The motion carries. Next item of business is the reports and remarks. First would be from me, and thank you all for coming. The holiday season's approaching. I want to remind everybody that next Wednesday, on the eve of Thanksgiving, we will have the tree lighting and the carols will sing. The Santa will arrive on the fire truck as usual. We'll have refreshments. This year, because of the unfortunate accident at Tower 2, the activities will move to Tower 3. We will have a tree lighting and all the ceremony, and the singers will be there. It will all be announced in the weekly update. Just be aware that because of logistics, we've moved it to Tower 2. Other than that, it will stay the same. I'm sorry, Tower 3. It's normally 2. We're doing it in Tower 3, sorry. Tower 3. Dorothy will cover some of this, but I did want to let you guys know that we've spoken about last meeting, but we will be starting renovation in the next month on the new laundry rooms. So all the laundry rooms will get new equipment. They'll be completely refurbished. We are going to redo the walls, the floors, and all the rest of it. Again, it's been mentioned in the weekly update, but I did want to let you guys know that we are very close to finishing the hallway renovations. At this point, I'd say we're 97% complete. Several of you have brought a few issues to our attention. They will be addressed. We do have a firm on site. We have established a very comprehensive punch list. Not only the weekly punch list has been done, but it's been certified. All the conditions have been photographed and logged, floor by floor, tower by tower. Where next week we'll be in Tower 3. Tower 1 and 2, every floor has a photograph of every existing condition, and they will be walked back through. All of that will be addressed by the contractor before the retainer is released. So just to let everyone know, there are some things that we will have to address as a community that we're not exactly up to spec, but everything is being documented, and a very thorough document will be available. So we will walk through with it before that final sign-off. I do still anticipate that project being done by the end of the year. I'm not sure that the extension of that project, which was the lobbies, because when we did the hallway renovation, there was a termination that was established for those hallways. But we did approve, and we are working on completing the lobbies. All the tiles will be done, the paper will be matched. We're also working on, we'll talk about tonight, We're working on replacing the furniture. And again, we're working on trying to get all this done by the end of the year. The only other thing that I had is that, with the holidays coming, which Dorothy will address slightly, and it will be in the update, there was a little bit with the holiday fund collection, there was a misstep in that. So please make sure that you all respond and all the donations are dropped in the box in the appropriate pink flyer with the envelope, and they will go to the office and be collected. Other than that, we have a lot of stuff to get through tonight, some pretty important stuff. So I will thank you all for your attention, and we'll move to the next item on the agenda, which is the treasurer's report.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tom Fiero, and I'll be presenting the controller's report this evening. As of October 31st, total cash is approximately $6.9 million, which includes $4.4 million in the R&R fund, $660,000 in the depository and operating accounts, and about $1.7 million in escrow. For the accounts receivable, the total from homeowners as of October 31st is approximately $2.7 million, which is $2.65 million that is in legal, another $50,000 in payment plans, $25,000 1 month past due, and about $4,000 2 months past due. Over the last month, we had approximately $375,000 in payments made through Condo Cafe, our online payment portal. Next is accounts payable, which is approximately $1.4 million as of October 31st. $280,000 of that represents R&R invoices, and the total accounts payable aging consists of $1.3 million of invoices 0 to 30 days old, $50,000 of invoices 31 to 60 days old, $9,000 of invoices 61 to 90 days old. As of September 30th, there were 621 owner occupants and 454 absentee owners in the building. Units occupied by tenants represent approximately 35% of the total Galaxy units. The October financial package will be available on Condo Cafe early next week. And this concludes the controller's report, unless there are any questions.
What was the rental?
I'm sorry, go ahead, Richard.
What was the percentage on rentals?
Percentage on rental, 35. Anyone else? All right, thank you.
Just no other questions, thanks. The next item of business is 3.3, which is the management report.
Good evening, Mr. President, directors of the board and Galaxy community. It is my pleasure to provide the management report for the month of November. The New Jersey Hotel and Multiple Dwelling Law requires the inspection of hotels and multiple dwellings in New Jersey at least every 5 years. The 5-year cycle inspection of GTCA has been scheduled for after February 5th, 2018. The inspector will examine the exterior of the buildings, any common areas of space, as well as each unit in the dwelling space for compliance with the Hotel and Multiple Dwellings Law and its attendant regulations. Residents will be updated accordingly closer to inspection to schedule access to units. I'm happy to report that the bike room has been recently completed, actually this afternoon. We've repainted the space, we've installed new racks, we reinstalled some of the broken racks. We also installed new LED lighting and key fob system. We encourage all residents to stop by the accounting office to register your bikes. The hallway redecorating project is almost complete. Tower 3, floor 12 elevator lobby is currently being renovated. Once that is completed, contractors will be back to install the door and navigational signs. Door signs for Tower 1 and 2 and 3 have been installed. Signs include garage, laundry, compactor, electrical, storage, and exit stays. Punch listing is completed in Tower 1 and 2, and Tower 3 walkthrough began on 11/15. Contractors will begin working on correct list items the week of November 20th. Approximately 80% of Tower 1 residents have had the door plates installed. Dates will be scheduled to return to each tower to complete those who were unable during the original installation periods. The Tower 2 faceplates are scheduled to be delivered the week of November 20th. Notices will go out to all residents prior to starting the installation. Dates for specific floors will be provided. Any resident that is not home can give PTE, and there will be 2 alternative days for those who are unable during the original installation periods. Tower 3 faceplate installation began on Monday, November 13th, and will be completed by Wednesday, November 22nd. First Service Project Management Team was hired to oversee the final stages of the hallway redecorating project and the punch list. And as you can see on the screen in front of you, this is a sample of floor-by-floor report and the punch list, basically listing every single item and deficiency they found. And as Wade mentioned, the contractor will be required to address all deficiencies and punch list items before the final retainage is released. First Service Project Management will continue monitoring of the progress with the ongoing installation and keep the residents notified of the progress and location of work. Renovation of the Tower 2 lobby will start on December 15. In light of the flood in Tower 2 lobby on August 27, required repairs will be performed under the pending insurance claim. Work scheduled for Tower 1 and Tower 3 lobbies will be distributed once available. Part of the renovation is actually upgrade of the existing furniture, and as you can see on the slides, new furniture actually is being ordered for each lobby. Those are color coordinated. The new furniture is leather and mahogany. Management would like to thank all residents for their cooperation and patience during the past 12 months of renovations. The garage reconstruction project is in progress with Phase 1 and Phase 2 traffic calling installation completed to date. Phase 3 will be completed tomorrow, Friday, November 17th. We expect for all punch list items to be completed by November 27th. The schedule for painting of the ADA signs and lines will be released in the weekly updates once available. Once again, management would like to thank all residents for their patience and cooperation. As previously informed, the boiler replacement project has been slightly delayed due to the problem with the gas pressure. Gas pressure coming to the building past regulator was set at 2 psi and the boiler requires 3.9 psi for run. I am happy to report that the regulator issue has been resolved and the solution the contractor, EFCO Mechanical, introduced to PSEG was approved. The work has begun, the work has been completed as of the past Monday, and as of past Monday, November 13th, you have been running on your brand new boiler. And you can actually see the picture of your brand new boiler and electronics. Last week, before the new boiler was actually put in service, the old boiler has been suffering from overfilling with water. Essentially, there was more water coming back into the boiler than the boiler was producing as steam. After some investigation, it was determined that the overfilling was due to the leak in the mall steam to hot water heat exchanger, which allowed water from the mall hot water system to travel back to the boiler and overfill it. By isolating this heat exchanger from the steam system, the boiler overfilling stopped. In the meantime, however, while this problem existed, the steam boiler system was reduced in operating capacity due to flooding of the boiler. Likewise, the maintenance staff was tasked with blowing down the boiler every hour to reduce the overfilling and restore the steam heating capacity of the system. Currently, the mall steam to hot water heat exchanger remains isolated and the boiler is operating properly. The leaking heat exchanger must be fixed before it can be reconnected to the steam system, otherwise it would once again cause this overfilling problem. With the new boiler equipment now also connected to the steam system, the leaking heat exchanger could also potentially damage the new equipment outside of any warranty coverage. Recently, we've also been experiencing issues with the hot water, with the heating of the water in the pool, and I would like to explain the problem as well. This is caused not by the boiler, but the heat exchanger itself. And I actually have a sample, also recently as yesterday, We lost one of the heat exchangers in Tower 2. And I would like to show you actually a piece of coil from your heating, from your heat exchanger, showing actually the backup and what's causing the problems with the heat exchanger, besides its age and expired useful life expectancy. So as of now, we are proceeding with the demolition of boiler number 2, which started today and will continue through the week of November 20th. The week of November 27th, we plan to actually have the demo of the boiler 2 complete, and on Thursday and Friday, November 30th and December 1st, boiler number 2 will be delivered in pieces. The week of December 4th, we're going to start with fabrication of boiler number 2, and the week of December 11 will continue. And we plan to actually have the installation completed by December 18th. The boiler installation and the project will be fully completed by the end of this year. Next slide. As previously informed, management is working with the town of Gothenburg, Danica and Arango engineers representing Gothenburg Town Engineers and A&D Engineering representing GTCA on the GTCA storm sanitary overflow and sanitary connection at River Road. As I've mentioned before, it's a very long process, and basically the engineers are investigating any connection that possibly might be feasible for GTCA. And all I can report to you that, as you can see in the picture in front of you, basically the highlighted location, this is actually for your sewage system, and the previous slide refers to possible location for your stormwater collection. And we'll continue to update you as more information is available. Management has prepared 2 recommendations for your consideration and approval this evening. The first recommendation is for Delta Controls building automation system. Staff seeks authorization to approve a change order for the new building management system technology. The new building automation system controls will allow us to collect and analyze data electronically and improve efficiency on the mechanical system. What does that mean? It means that currently you don't have any controls in place, so the staff is unable to the staff doesn't know when the equipment and the new boilers are going down until they basically start receiving calls from you. So this system will eliminate this. This system will basically tell them beforehand that something is wrong or the system is going down, which will allow them to be proactive and address any issue they might find. Staff seeks authorization for EFCO Mechanical to purchase and install the new Delta Control BAS system for $92,800. The new BAS system will include the 3 pump rooms plus the control devices, wiring, panel in the boiler room and the pool sky room, and also monitoring of the booster station in each of the 3 pump rooms. Other mechanical equipment will be added as necessary. The current boiler renovation project with the Galaxy does not include any digital controls or building automation. Recognizing that the Galaxy would benefit from including automation with the current project, EFCO Mechanical offered a change order proposal to upgrade the contract specified standalone controls to BAS system controls. At the present time, a decision is requested for the controls desired on the project in order to maintain the project construction schedule. The proposed change order for digital control is only applicable as a turnkey system provided by EFCO. The key features listed, which I'm going to discuss, will help to summarize and provide context around the modern requirements of BAS system. Open protocol, a BACnet standard for interoperability. What it means is that most of the industry communicates with protocols for building automation products, and Delta Control is one of the founding members of the ASHRAE testing and development group for BACnet, and all of their control products communicate natively via BACnet. Delta Controls manufactures their own complete line of controllers. HTML5 graphics and interface development, fully web-based feature-rich system interference, a hardware COM standard with touchscreen display and override switches for local control, fully modular hardware line, fully scalable system. And you can probably see very well on the screen, but you actually have a comparison of various products, and Delta is one of the more affordable system and actually offers. Can you complete that? And actually offers a lot of features that other systems might be limited with. So the system is very well recognized, and just to give you some idea, Delta Control BA system was recently installed at Manhattan School of Music in New York City, New York, and consisting of hundreds of wireless communicated heat pumps, thermostats, several air handlers, and the central plant mechanical room. 30 Montgomery Street, VAS for 30 Montgomery Street, Jersey City, New Jersey, which is a 15-story office building consisting of hundreds of thermostatically controlled VAV boxes and induction units, several air handlers, and central plant mechanical room. Roosevelt Landings, Summit Plaza housing in Jersey City, consisting of several buildings and the central plant, including 3 100 kW CHP machines and 2 chillers and 4 boilers, which is a major operation. The atrium in Fort Lee, New Jersey, consisting of the entire central plant, rooftop equipment, air handlers, and heat pumps. Horizon House, also in Fort Lee, New Jersey, consisting of the central plant in each of 6 buildings, including chillers, boilers, pumps, and exception since remote boiler monitoring. And those were just a few that I was actually able to find for you as an example. The second recommendation, staff would like to obtain, staff seeks authorization to upgrade the existing phone system to iCloud-based phone system. This is actually one of the more critical items for us. Your existing phone system is antiquated, and the last time it went down, it was down for a week while we were trying to find the part, and your vendor was finally able to find the part in some old convent in Ohio. So every time the system goes down, we're risking the fact that we won't be able to bring the system back online. So we're seeking authorization to approve an upgrade for the new telephone, system. This system will allow customization to meet very specific needs, traditional voice and data, IP, internet, networks in the alternative to running parallel voice data networks. It also saves you a lot of money. For instance, currently we're paying $1,600 to Verizon for monthly service of all 32 phones. The iCloud-based system will eliminate that cost, and it will also eliminate monthly maintenance cost of your equipment. I don't have the numbers for you because we actually have vendors walking through the property right now and evaluating everything. It's a very complex project, and we really want to be sure that we are going to provide you with the best technology and obviously the lowest cost. On behalf of First Service Residential Management and staff, I would like to wish all residents a very happy and safe Thanksgiving filled with family, laughs, and lots of delicious food. Thank you. This concludes my report.
Mr. President, I have 2 questions.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you need the mic?
I'll talk loud. Okay. Dorothy, on the problem that we had with the mall water feed to the boiler, did we approach the engineers or consider going after their errors and omissions issues for failing to pick that up on the field review? Or that is a potential problem in the field review? Or have we considered that option?
Well, so the recent mold issue that I was just referring to is as a result of the heat exchanger that the mall association is responsible. Their heat exchanger basically is dying, so it's their responsibility. We pointed it out to them. I actually copy you on the email that I
No,
sent.
I'm not concerned about the mall. When they did the boiler on our side, they're supposed to review all the feeds and connections associated with the boiler system. The question that I'm asking, they raised the issue in their report of a potential problem coming from deficient apparatus. No, I'm not going to put you in the spot, but it might be something to look into and possibly go into their errors and omissions insurance for the liability and damage associated with that.
Absolutely, I would have to review all the specs yet again because the book is actually
Yeah, I know
quite a
it's
few
pretty
inches
thick.
thick, and I will be able to get back to you with answers.
Okay, and then the second issue is on this system. It clearly has metrics and analytics that will require training and personnel to manage.
Right.
Is there a plan in place, or what is your plan?
Yes, we're actually going to have all the procedures in place. We're going to have clear directions, and the staff will be trained. And the staff actually will be able to receive all the reports on their iPhones and the iPads that we're going to provide them with. So yes, we're definitely going to have the training. Additional training will also consist of cleaning of your new heat exchangers, which actually are of very good quality and will eliminate to a certain degree the backup issue that you have caused by your boiler and all the sediments.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
Yes, Richard.
Question, Dorothy, you mentioned the mall pump room. Is that the one directly above the 16th floor entrance to the garage? Were you able to find out? Because that was leaking and it periodically leaks. I suspect, I know that there's mall pumps there, so I was just wondering if it is that.
That's one of the locations, but we're still investigating other equipment as per the email that I copied you on.
Yeah.
So yes, we're trying to get to the bottom of that, but we've been able to determine that the problem is caused not by your elements. Actually, your mechanical system is affected by the equipment that the mall is responsible for.
But my point is, if it's coming from there, this leak has been going on and off several years. So it's something that's definitely not being maintained on their part.
So your attorneys were also notified of the issue and proper documentation was sent to them.
And I have some pictures I took when it was leaking last weekend and everything froze, so I'll forward those to you.
Okay, thank you. And if I might just add, we are able to actually install Delta system because it's part of the boiler work what we do. If we're going to even go with any other manufacturer, any other system that you guys actually see in front of you, that would require additional engineering and probably other vendors to install that system. So by going with Delta as a change order, we actually are able to get a good system, and with less money, we're able to eliminate other costs. Thank you.
Was there any other?
Thank you very much, Dorothy. I seen a picture of the completed boiler, but it still looks like it's bare metal. They haven't painted it yet. They're not going to paint it?
No,
They're supposed to be painted.
And the insulation will be yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments, questions on the management report? Okay, that will conclude the management report. Next item on the agenda is unfinished business. Currently, we don't have any. Are there any other items that someone to bring? Otherwise, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is 5.1, which is the 2018 budget.
I make the motion to approve the 2018 budget in the amount of $15,630,694, broken out as $12,528,182 in the operating fund, $102,512 to fund the unpended the unfunded pension liability and $3 million in the R&R.
The motion's been made, is there a second? The motion's been made and seconded, is there any discussion?
Discussion. Are we in discussion?
Yes, we are.
Okay, I'd like to use up 4 minutes. Can I have the microphone, please? The budget process is the single most important exercise in establishing the board's operational and capital priorities. I'm committed to keep maintenance levels stable and responsive to our community's needs, but I see a great value in applying business skills and techniques to get the biggest bang for the buck. I have extensive experience in real estate and large organizational and business management over 40 years. I have never seen or experienced a more uninsulated budgetary process absent of board review or input ever in my career. We were given numbers on the budget on Friday, November 3rd. Then on November 6th, numbers were then reviewed. Numbers are meaningless without context. What do those numbers mean? What do they mean in terms of full-time equivalents? What do they mean in terms of what we consider important? When we met a week later, which was this past Monday, we were told that the budget needed to be finalized by today. When I pointed out that we are doing this absent of any discussions regarding our objectives, priorities, or owners' concerns, the answers were that the president and treasurer met with the general manager and members of management and that the numbers were fine. I was told by the treasurer that we have to keep the maintenance down. My view is the same as the treasurer, but one proviso: in the most efficient and effective way possible. Yes, we have a surplus every year, but then why are we not budgeting more effectively so that we don't have to borrow the money in one year and pay it the next? This is an issue in terms of the effectiveness of the budgeting process. Because, my neighbors, this is exactly what we're doing. If you as owners feel that the management is doing an excellent job, if you feel that your constant loss of hot water and water supply is to be tolerated, if you feel safe and satisfied with security and lobby services, if you feel you are well informed by a sensitive, engaged management, then this is the budget for you, but not for me.
Any other comments?
First, Richard Vasquez said to me we should put an extra $120,000 to $150,000 in the budget for security if we get to a new system, if we decide to execute a new system. And I had said, we don't know the timing on that. The board hasn't really come to a conclusion that we're going to do it. And he said, put it in anyway. If we use it, we use it. If we don't, we don't. So I don't know which person sitting at this table is worried about the homeowner's money and taking money from homeowners and just putting it in the budget just for the sake of putting it. For somebody that claims that they've done budgeting for their career and does a great job of it, Richard has been on the board since March. A budgeting process, there's a budget season. When it's time all year, you talk about priorities of the board, and you bring it to the board, and you put something on paper, and you bring something to the board that they can discuss and actually execute on. It's not during the last month of the season when you're doing budgeting. It's throughout the whole year, so you can plan future budgets. It's an ongoing process. It's not a monthly process. I'll ask Wade, as we took the time to put slides together this year so that owners in the audience aren't just hearing numbers, I was happy to walk through these, and if Wade gives me the time to walk through them, I'd be happy to walk through them. If not,
I'll be more than happy to give you time, but I'd also like to address the comment that was made about a comment that I made, which is not true. We walked through this budget line by line with the board. You said that I said, we did walk through the numbers, and you had the chance to speak about them and you've not. And now you're saying that I told you it was okay. I never said it was okay. We went through the numbers, we as a board came to a choice. I did not say that. You took my comment, you made up a comment, because I never said that. So I just wanted to be clear on the record about that. Joe, you can say this, and I'm saying it's not. Joe, you wanted Tom to explain what the numbers are?
One more comment. The board, I work closely with the accounting. The board receives a package, you see it in the budget, it's broken out by contractual and discretionary spend. We went line by line with the general manager in the room who's met with her staff. Accounting was in the room to look up and address any questions, if they had questions for the numbers and the background of numbers and what builds the numbers. And yes, one of my goals is to maintain the maintenance at a low level so that it doesn't escalate and to spend smartly. And if you look at the surpluses, they're probably less than 1% of the budget each and every year. This year we have a little bit slightly. But again, as a finance professional and a finance professional sitting next to me, coming in at 1% of your budget, over or under, in my opinion, is an excellent job. So we're not over-assessing the homeowners. When the surplus coming back to you next year is $118,000 out of the $12+ million budget. It's $12,751 was the budget, and we're giving you back $118,000. Oh, I apologize. No, it was actually higher. It was $12.85 in 2016. We're giving you $118,000 back of that. So if Richard thinks I've offended the homeowners or I'm taking money from you guys, I extremely apologize to all the homeowners.
This is business. Welcome to my world. This is the way.
Okay.
Anyway, I have a right to respond.
You both have been recognized. You made comments to me. You do have a right to respond.
Right.
And I will recognize you. But you made a comment to two members and we responded. You have the right to speak. In order to keep this in an orderly manner, let's be recognized in the front. So yes, Richard.
Okay. First of all, I agree that I did ask for additional money in security. But what was absent was a discussion over a period of a month prior to the budget of what the priorities of the Galaxy are. The reality is that we're given 1 weekend to review numbers. Numbers mean nothing without priorities. We never discussed what's important and what's not important. Where are our priorities? What's important to the owners? Is security important to the owners? Then we should have discussed security. I shouldn't have had to just throw out a number, but by the way, the general manager agreed that she could use the 3 additional full-time equivalents. We needed to discuss what do we need in terms of housekeeping. Is everybody here happy with the cleanliness? Like I said, if you're happy with what those numbers produce, then this is a good budget. If you feel that the management and the board has been doing a great job for you, and that this year has been that you have a manager that's sensitive to our housekeeping, lobby services, security needs. If all of this is fine, then this is a business observation. With all respect to my colleagues on the board, this is my opinion. Okay? So the numbers on the accounting side, we have done an excellent job of accounting for the numbers. The numbers by themselves don't make for good management.
Okay, so Joe, you were going to walk us through where the history was and where the numbers are?
Yeah, I'll just walk through these slides quickly so that you have some visibility into what's going on. This is, and you'll all receive this with the letter. That'll come out shortly. But basically the bottom line is, the $15,630,000 is your budget. The overall decrease in the operating fund is going to be 1.75. The decrease on your maintenance bill will be 0.46, and that's due to a decrease in the overall other income that we've had, which is other areas such as we're no longer going to be in the business of the HVAC purchases, and that also reduces building service revenue. So that's about a $130,000 drop in that. And part of the reason we decided to do that were due to insurance claims and issues and that will free up our maintenance staff to actually work on common areas rather than spending days in people's apartments with, installing air conditioners. We had a reduction in rental income because we've now moved Rodney into one of the Galaxy-owned apartments, which we used to get rent for, but he had been bouncing around the building, so to give him some sense of permanency, the board opted to do that, as well as the board had, I believe, 2 units that we were renting out that were bought at sheriff's sales, but the banks have actually foreclosed on those at this point, so we've lost those as well. We reduced legal fee recovery by about $30,000. As the arrears goes down, we're dropping. We would anticipate that that would go down as well. And we're getting a pickup of $44,000 for laundry fee with the new laundry contract that we're getting. And we have late fee revenue of $50,000 due to the new policy the board passed. We're actually charging late fees and interest, so that will increase that revenue, which will be offset in the bad debt line, as we don't always anticipate to get all of these, because if you're not paying your maintenance and we're charging you interest, if you're not going to pay your maintenance, you're probably not going to pay the interest. But we'll offset that with the bad debt as well. If we go to the next slide, we did a quick walk for you showing where we were in the 2017 budget at $15,847,000. Walking to the 2018 budget, which is $15,631,000. And the buckets that we've changed this year over last year, in the comp and ben area, we've increased the property management for planned allied and risks and for service by about $85,000 for 2.6% increase. Contracts are up. The board is in discussions with what they want to do and their options in that area, so we did put money in there so that the board has flexibility to work with those numbers. Under the GTCA employees, with the new insurance company we actually are going to have a new risk management area, which is an additional headcount that's looking at our insurance claims, and they'll work directly with the Wells Fargo team in hopes that in the long run we'll be submitting our claims smartly, and in the long run we're hoping that will decrease our overall insurance expense, because we'll strategically put the claims through. We'll be vetting them and making sure rather than just submitting them all. And the drop of $103,000 is due to the new accounting contract that the board approved late last year. That was in the 2017 budget because the contract was approved in late December last year, I believe. So we didn't have the number in the 17 budget. The old contract was in. Now the new contract's in. So that's a nice one-time savings going down to the new rates where they went to a lower level. In the second bucket, we just kind of put some expense savings, and the energy and natural gas is a nice savings. We have the new contract of over $200,000. I still believe there's a potential cushion in there, but the two variables that we have, we're going to have all the new lighting and we're going to have the new boilers, so we're going to have to start getting run rates on them as they're up and running next year. And over the past couple of years, we've kind of had relatively warmer winters and not super hot summer, so that's a variable you can just never project. If it ends up being a super cold winter or a really hot summer, it'll impact those rates, obviously, just due to usage. So this year we did reduce it by just over 7%, but there are variables, and we're hoping some of these will come into fruition where there may be additional savings. And I know Dorothy's working with the firm that's also looking at the hallways to look at other ways as they're going through the building to see if there's other potential savings for energy costs on that. In the next bucket is the bad debt. So we were able to decrease that by $100,000, which I think is a good story and seems like one of the line items that the homeowners get, happy about when it goes down and upset when it goes up, because if you don't know what we call bad debt is, basically when owners aren't paying their maintenance, somebody has to pay that bill, so we have to put an expense in there, and we're basically covering the people that aren't paying their maintenance. So it's a very frustrating line for owners, but over the past couple of years that's been going down, and it's been a priority of the boards that I've been on to focus on that. And just from a year-over-year perspective, looking at the end of 16 to September of 17, that the overall number of apartments decreased by 17.6% that were in arrears at that time. So we were able to get some savings there. The residential operations, we got some savings. And that again goes back to not having the HVAC purchases that I mentioned before. We lost income on it, but we also offset that with some expense. And we're also looking at new elevator consultants. Weren't thrilled with Dorothy wasn't totally thrilled, and we've been talking to the board about the way they've been working, and we're looking at other options to ensure we spent a lot of money on the elevators. We want to be sure that they're being maintained properly and they're being taken care of. So we're looking at options there. And the last piece is really the insurance. We were able to get a little bit of a better rate when we switched brokers. And again, that's an item that we're looking to continue to hope to hone in on, and that was part of the investment in the risk management person. To offset these expenses, we did increase a handful of items, and one was legal. We increased a little bit, and that's really due to the mall litigation. We have to have some money in there. It's unfortunate that this is happening. It is covered by insurance for the most part, but there are costs to the Galaxy for this, so we put some money in for that. We put additional monies in for routine maintenance, basically gearing it towards plumbing and electrical expenses, so that, you know, the routine maintenance can be done, and we know there are leaks and there's old pipes, so we're making sure that there's funding there to do that as well. And general operations, we've increased to make sure, again, routine maintenance is being done. And for the office, we put some money in for computer and trying to get us into the next century, because there's a lot of antiquated things at the Galaxy. There's a lot of paper. We're trying to go more paperless and digitalize things, which in the end we're hoping will offset with some of the office supply costs as well. So those are kind of the main drivers of what changed the budget from year over year. We're trying to, again, you know, reduce the expenses and spend smart and shuffle the money around as we can. Again, I mentioned that the bad debt and arrears is priority for the owners, so I put a couple slides together just to kind of show the owners, you know, what's taking place and how that number is going down, and just so everybody understands the process. Since Sepola's team come in, they've put good processes and they've been aggressive at following them. So just to give you an idea, if you don't put your payment in by the 10th, you're going to get a $50 late fee, and you're going to get a letter mailed to your apartment saying, hey, you've been late, this is your first month. If the second month goes by and you don't pay again, then you're getting an additional $50 late fee, so every month you'll get the $50, and at that point in time, the interest starts accruing on the balance, and it's at 8% annual interest. And again, you're going to get another formal, now it's a late letter describing and talking about the next piece, which is the services become suspended at that point in time. And the services that are suspended is they'll deny any package or food delivery, you won't be able to park in the garage, you won't have access to the spa. Now we're starting to boot the cars, and we're also going to have locks for the storage for anybody that's in arrears, so they can no longer have access to their storage at the Galaxy as well. And the board has been and will continue to research the possibility of shutting off the energy in the apartments as we can. We're working with legal to dot our I's and cross our T's on that, because that's going to be the biggest win for the Galaxy. If we can actually shut your energy off, you know, it's no longer livable, and it's going to be challenging for you to go about that. And I'll just say, the accounting works on payment plans with people. If it's 6 months, if they can pay off the balance in 6 months or less, accounting has the right to approve that. And once you're on a payment plan, your services would be brought back on. But the second you're late, everything's shut off. It doesn't go step 1, step 2 again. You go directly to step 2. Everything is shut off again, and the payment plan then becomes kind of void at this point. And the other thing that accounting takes a priority in is catching them before it gets crazy. So once somebody's late 1 month, they're aggressively going after them before the balance builds, and then it becomes unsurmountable. Because once they get to a certain point, I don't want to say point of no return, but the likelihood of us getting anything back becomes very challenging. If you get to them early, that's your best probability of getting anything done. I know somebody's raising their hand. This isn't a Q&A. I don't want to...
No, I'm sorry. We'll do it at the end, but this is a board.
I'm happy to talk to you after the meeting and, you know, any questions you have. And the last slide we put together is just really showing you kind of the correlation between arrears and the bad debt. And it's basically showing you, you know, as the maintenance is high, your bad debt goes with it. And I mean, it's kind of common sense that you would see that. As maintenance is higher, less people are going to be able to pay it. And as, you know, as you can see, both trends are going exactly the same. And I showed the percentage of bad debt in the budget, which at peak was about 7.3 to where we went back to, and is currently getting down to 2.2. It's a number we want to continue to drop, but, you know, we'll continue to work with accounting and use all the resources we can to get that number as low as possible. If you're looking at the slide on this side, which is just showing units in arrears, this is at a point in time. So from 2013 to 2016 is at year end, and in 2017 it is as of September. The only thing I can say, you take that in a sense with a grain of salt, because if there just happen to be 2 people that missed their year-end payment, the number could be skewed a little bit, but directionally, it's telling the story. So the one thing I can say is that the Galaxy has kind of turned a corner. When I first started on the board, banks were not foreclosing. There were no short sales, because if the bank forecloses, they have to pick up the maintenance. And the banks didn't want to pick up the maintenance because they knew they couldn't sell the unit. Once the Always project started kicking off, maintenance started going down, it woke the banks up. They started foreclosing on the units, which is what escalated this process and really did help out the Galaxy. There actually became short sales because they knew when they put the apartments on, they would actually, you know, they could actually sell. So the bank was taking the risk of covering that maintenance at that point in time. So that, I just wanted to give you a little bit of color into the arrears, because I know that's a hot topic with owners, and this year give you a little more color into, you know, the thought process that was put behind the maintenance, and how, in all sincerity, I do my best to try. We do a bottoms-up budget. I put a lot of effort and energy into this. It isn't just reduce maintenance. My goal is, yes, to reduce maintenance, but my goal is also to spend your money smartly, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to put the walk so you could see. We're taking money out of energy. We're finding energy savings by getting smart projects. We're working on the arrears so we can put it into maintenance and taking care of the building, so this will be a nice place for everybody to live. So I appreciate Wade giving me the time to talk through.
Good job. Good job.
So, Richard Miller, he asked to be recognized first, little down Lee. I'll give you next.
I'd like to speak a little bit about the R&R part of the budget. That's $3 million. It's $3 million, but individual projects have not been decided. Owners, I feel owners have a right to know where the money that's to be collected is going. To me, that's transparency. The board never got to talk about neither the priorities for this R&R budget. Yes, we had spreadsheets, we touched upon this, touched upon that, maybe the garage really needs work. We have a lot of things we have to do. So we didn't settle priorities for this budget, nor for GTCA as a whole. It's clear we need a reserve study. We have to do the CNA that Richard Vasquez spoke about a few months ago. Without a reserve study, we're likely underfunding reserves. We just don't know. Don't forget, it's a 40-year-old building, and we're putting out fires all the time. I mean, Dorothy's catching all these things, but still, we don't have priorities. Shortages may eventually result in an unplanned need for money or even a special assessment. We try to avoid that at all costs. And that would impact our property values. In fact, I was doing some research. Many states have passed legislation requiring reserve studies because of the impact underfunding can have to homeowners. So this just concerns me very much. We're collecting $3 million, and we're not telling you right now what we plan on spending it. You may get, I think like in past years, all the projects that are being considered, but there's nothing specific. I mean, in the operating budget, how would you like to say, I'm not talking about that, but it just occurred to me, give us $12 million, we'll sort it. It's just not right. We spoke about a lot of things that are not quite as important. We have a meeting, I think, next week to just speak about the R&R, but the board was not disciplined enough to do it. And it bothers me.
I would give you 1 second, Richard, but I cannot tell you how many times I said that I tried to direct you to direct that. And I also would like to remind everyone sitting at the table that we had a What's Up Galaxy meeting where all the homeowners were advised and the R&R projects were all outlined dollar by dollar. What was approved by the board, it was published, it was an open meeting, and we were all, and the entire population was invited to attend that meeting. So to say that we have not spoken about that is not quite a representation of the fact.
Wait, I would just like to answer, I beg to differ. Yes, we did have a meeting, we went over a lot of things, but the board did not sit down, all of us, and say, we're going to spend, we're collecting $3 million. We're going to spend $3 million, we're going to spend only $2.5, or maybe we're going to spend $4 million. That's it. It's all of our fault, but also we didn't discipline ourselves to call a special, during the week, an extra meeting to devote time. We devoted a lot of time to committees and a lot of things. That's it. We're all responsible, but we all may suffer sometimes. That's all. Owners have a right to know when the budget is passed, when they get the letter, what projects we are going to do.
First, I'd like to say something. Joe, you've done an excellent job on the accounting side. Don't take it personally. I'm a businessman. I think that we need to take a step back from taking things personally. It's a business exercise. And in a business exercise, you want to know, for example, there's an issue that we've raised over the years, which is preventive maintenance. Okay, it's a very serious need. If not done properly, you land up with pipes that are a plumbing system that's destroyed, apparatus that provide utilities breaking down, and it affects our lifestyle. So if we have a discussion of how many full-time equivalents do we have that are directed towards that specific item. We even talked about capturing work for the first time. Everybody says we had preventive maintenance. But yet that's about having a system in place. Computers, people that do data capture. We didn't discuss how many full-time equivalents that's going to take. So in my world, you know, usually what you do is you look at line item budgets. You look at what the needs and priorities are, and then you use the budget as your greatest tool to set the priorities and give the management the support they need to get the job done. We spent less time on this budget as a board with management than we did in picking out colors for the pool furniture and setting up parties. Now, you know, look, I stayed back for a long time and didn't, you know, give people, I always felt that we should work together in public. But, you know, this kind of childish behavior is not gonna,
That's a personal attack. We've all been, you separate yourself from okay, wait, the question has been called. The question has been called. Wait, the question has been called. Is there a second?
Anyway, just to finish up.
Is there a second?
We gotta take each other's.
The question has been called and seconded. If someone wants to speak and not been spoken.
This is the way board meetings are run.
The question has been called and seconded.
This is why.
No, I'm sorry.
This is the way the board works. And this is what I've been going to every week.
Nobody work with you.
You see?
Okay, call to
So
order.
anyway, now you see
Call to order. Call to order. The question has been called and seconded. If the question's been called and seconded, all in favor, raise your hand and say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Abstain. Abstentions? 3 abstentions, the motion carries. We'll call for the vote.
The truth comes out tonight.
I make a motion to ratify a prior vote.
We know where to stand. Everybody at this table.
We voted on the question. We now need to vote on the motion. No, we need to vote on the motion. So the motion to approve the budget, all those in favor of approving the budget, I'm sorry, let's call the order again. Let's call the order again. All those in favor of approving the budget for the 2018 budget, raise your hand or say aye. Approving the budget. We approved the, call the question. So, Richard, I don't see. Okay, so those are opposed to the budget, raise your hand or say aye. 1 opposition, abstentions, 1 abstention. The motion carries.
I make a motion to ratify a prior vote to hire First Service Project Management to complete the final stage of the Holbrook project punch list. Services will be billed weekly at the rate of $4,375 for 4 weeks, ending the week of November 27, 2017.
I hate to interrupt you, but I'm sorry, guys. Can we get to order? And one conversation, one time. And it's not productive for any of us.
And the week of November 27, 2017, and limited services after the billed hourly at the rate of $150 per hour, ending the week of December 25, 2017.
The motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor, raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The motion carries. Unanimous. The next item of business is the 5.3 BMS systems.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion. I got it. Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to authorize FCO Mechanical to purchase and install new Delta Controls BAS systems for $92,800. I'd go on further to explain this, but Dorothy did, the general manager did a good job earlier in the meeting detailing what needs to be done here. I'll make a motion that this gets approved. Second.
The motion's been made and seconded to approve the BMS systems, which is an upgrade to the boiler systems, which allows us automation and monitoring capabilities to be expanded later. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Raise your hand.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The motion carries unanimously.
I make a motion to transfer phone systems to the iCloud.
Is there a second? Yeah, but we need a motion and a second, and then the motion to table. The motion's been made and seconded. We need a motion to table that because we have a last minute bidder that we'd like to review to make sure that we're all.
I make a motion to table.
The motion's been made. Is there a second to table the motion? The motion's made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The motion carries to table.
Wait. Hopefully I'm just going to put it away.
The next order of business is 5.5 on the agenda, which is outsourcing the election process.
Yes. I'd like to make a motion to outsource the 2018 election of directors for the GTCA to an independent election coordinator to be designated as per the Galaxy Towers Condominium Association rules dated November 17th, 2016.
The motion's been made to outsource the election to an independent outside counsel. Is there a second? The motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor, is there any discussion?
Can I say something?
I ask for discussion.
Okay. Going a little bit faster than okay. I think it's very important that we outsource the election process. There's been too many things in the last number of years that have been not to many people's liking. Just a few ideas. we also need to simplify the election process. The whole process is longer than some countries' election process. The bylaws say the election has to be the first half of March each year. So instead of the current system where we begin in December, we should begin much later. Maybe only a month tops for the whole election process. I would also suggest doing away with candidates night. Same people attend, it's less and less each year. I would say most of the people have already made up their mind, and a lot of times it's only gotcha.
I'm sorry, Richard, can I call only for real quick relevance, because only because we're only talking about outsourcing. If we're going to rewrite the election rules, I think there's a lot of discussion that should go on about that.
Okay, I'll come back to it when we actually get up to it, but what I'd like to suggest is that we look at law firms to do it. Many condos use law firms. I'm not talking about our own. Another law firm, and that's what I would strongly suggest.
We can definitely look at that, Richard. We'll have a discussion about that. But as far as election rules, that's a whole different conversation. This is just whether we're going to outsource or not. Yes, Richard Vasquez, did you have a discussion?
No, I agree with you. It's going to take a...
That's a very long discussion. Thank you. So the motion's been made and second. If there's no further discussion, all those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? No opposition, any abstentions? No abstentions. The unanimously carried. The next order of business is 5.6, which is the revised decorating alteration agreement.
Motion to approve the revised alteration decoration agreements with the ACM and lead paint requirements.
The motion's been made. Is there a second? The motion's been made and seconded. It's open for discussion. Is there any discussion? I'll give a real brief overcap of what this, the changes. There's several rules, and these are existing, both the decorating and the alteration agreements. We are aware on the property that there is asbestos in the mastic underneath the tiles. If you leave them in place, there's no harm to anyone here on the property. If you skim coat or float floor above them, there's no harm, there's no danger to any of us here. If you remove the tiles and just skim coat over the floor, again, no harm, no danger. The only harm or danger comes if you sand the floors, and that property becomes airborne. So this just says that you either acknowledge, if you're going to do that work, there's certain guidelines that you need to follow in order to do that. It's all outlined in the decorating agreement. It's gone past our legal firm as well as their environmental agency on their firm to see what the proper protocol in order to follow this. Once it became the board's information and information to the board, it was imperative that we act. This is not we don't have an option. This is something that is now knowledge. It's been made knowledge to the board, and it's an action that we took, and we took it quickly and seriously. So we did the environmental lawyers. It's been back and forth with our insurance firms as well. Is there any other discussion? Yes, Richard Mellon.
I went through the decorating agreement last night and the alteration agreement. The alteration agreement is very comprehensive. However, I feel it needs to be tightened up. We were told that there's not many changes from what we have now. The last time I read these agreements was probably 17 years ago, before I was even on the board. And we just got these the other day. I don't think we're ready to approve it, or we need to further tighten up these agreements and fix some of the language here and further define certain items. So I don't feel that we're ready to approve this tonight.
Okay, is there any other discussion? If not, then all those in favor of approving the revised alteration of the declaration agreements, raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstentions? One abstention, the motion carries. So the next item of business is 5.7, which is
furniture.
lobby furniture, yeah.
Motion to approve lobby furniture purchase from Modern Line Furniture not to exceed $11,000 per lot.
The motion's been made, is there a second? The motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? One abstention. The motion carries. The next item, the final item is 5.8, which is other new business, which is Joe.
Make the motion to refund the 2016 surplus of $118,717 to the owners to be distributed in equal monthly amounts credited to the 2018 maintenance statement, which is 0.91% of the overall 2016.
The motion's been made, is there a second? The motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye, raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The motion carries.
Motion to adjourn.
The motion's been made to adjourn, those in favor. The motion's been made and seconded to adjourn, those in favor say aye, or raise your hand. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? We're adjourned.